Welcome back everyone to Welstopia, and we are back here at the Greater Temple, where today we are going to start building the main section of the temple. And in this area, we are going to be taking on the shape of a spruce tree, since that is going to be, of course, the main object being that they are working on here. This is different from the demon face that they try to have in the original module. Now, what I've decided to do for this is I'm going to go through a bit of tapered a tapered scheme in order to do this, and I think I'm also going to have to make sure I reduce the chance of falling in here, because we've got all sorts of stuff down here, don't we? That I think I just put this down here. We want this, yeah, it's going to be one below that. And what we are going to do is we are going to have the floor here made from prismarine brick to be the, well, I know it's not quite the color of pine needles, but it will have to do. Now, we are going to also have another little challenge here, and that's going to be lighting. So what I'm going to do with this, let's see, I think that's going to be 15 right there. 1, 2, 3. I'll see if I've got that counted right. I'm going to take 15 across here, and as I go down that way, we're going to become tapered. So we'll slowly go down, so we'll get closer and closer to the trunk as we go up higher. But the first group, that's going to be a straight block of 3 across, where it's going to maintain the same width. And that's because we are going to have a quarters coming down to it, to the passages of the various elemental sections that are going to be down there. Because there are going to be 4 little small sections which are dedicated to each of the elements, and that's going to, of course, come down from one of these groups of branches. I guess we'll call them branches. And then after the branch is going to break into a corridor going down this way, that's going to lead to the first of the 4 areas, and then we'll do the same for each of the others. Now after that, though, the next block of 3 that we are going to have is going to taper. And what we're going to do is we are going to alternate tapering with straight. We are going to be needing a little bit of, let's see, it's a little bit of light right here will do, I think. Well, maybe I will have to bring that down a little bit. So I have to have some light in order to make sure that we got. But what I'm going to do here, yes, of course, is that in each of these areas right here, though, instead of this prismarine brick, we are going to have what you should be familiar with quite now, what I use for lighting in many of these things, and that would be sea lanterns. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we can head out here. Get this taken care of, and like that. And now we can do 1, 2, 3, and then the next block right here, this next row, we will become straight again. I'll just take off a little bit here. I will, of course, have to chisel out this area a little bit higher before we can get too much stuff on the serious side, but here we go. But that means this area right here will then flatten out there. So we'll go alternating between flat tapering, flat tapering, flat tapering, so that we could take care of the 4 quarters and have a nice tapering look for our tree shape. And that's what I'll be doing over here. So let me do a great deal of mining and a great deal of placing down, and we can see how it looks. And here is the result, going all the way up to here. This is where we'll probably have some sort of dais where we could have the altar and the like. And then of course this room here is the room we were building last time, where we'll have the tree going up in the middle there. Now as for this section here, I now have a nice good entrance at the corner here where we could go into here, so that if I needed to access the zombie farm, I could easily get to it there. So that's good, and I suppose it's a good time to lock that off again. Well, actually, it might not be, because as I said earlier, we've gone down deeper and that we recycled through, so that now we have stone brick instead of diorite here. So what I really should do is to take out all of this diorite and place it with, actually not stone brick, with stone slabs. With some stone slabs, so that it would be consistent with the rest of the items on this level. There you go. That's the part that shows there and shows there, but of course we can't leave it at that. We would actually have to go and do this all the way across, even in the parts that aren't going to be visible on the stairs. And on the stairs side, of course, we're actually going to have to handle that there and go, as you see there, go 3 up and take care of this part also, so that it will be consistent. I'll take care of that, and we'll have to do it on this side. So therefore, starting from here to here, we have to replace all that diorite with stone slabs, and do that all the way down to the zombie spawner. Maybe we should leave it. Should we leave it? Yeah, leave that as stone slabs. I think, even though it might go down far enough to consider even going recycling all the way down to andesite, I think it's probably our best bet is to just go and leave it at stone slabs. So therefore, more work to do. This is the result. I think the wall looks pretty nice now, though of course it's not going up anywhere near as high as it needs to, because eventually we need to be high enough so that we could have a large spruce there. And down here, the walls all now are fitting in with everything, and of course we've got our zombie spawner down that way. Now this has of course turned into a secondary entrance. I have to think of it as a special use entrance, not the main entrance, so that anything that we do would be done from the point of view of this being the grand entrance where everybody comes in and the like, and that would be a special occasions place perhaps to enter, so I don't have to worry about 2 sides coming in. Now, as for this area, what I need to do here is to get the rest on the floor done, because I do not want to have diagonal walls, because diagonal walls are going to be a real pain in Minecraft. So to get around that, I'm going to have the floor go in by steps. And I wanted a contrasting color to go against. Something a little bit darker, and I figured that spruce might be a good idea for that, considering the theme here. So we will have 6 here, and then we'll drop in, and then we'll have the same thing here, like that, and then we'll do the same thing here. Assuming I could place a block properly. It is 3 consecutive blocks that went in the wrong spot. There you go. Now, I may have another touch or two to add to these afterwards, but the idea there is that I can have relatively straight walls without breaking the tree pattern that I'm looking for here. And I'll just fill in the rest of this. And after I do that, well, actually I only need to do a little bit more here. Good. Then we have the thing about doing the corridors that are leading away from here, because that's going to be an important thing, that we're going to have corridors. Each of the corridors is going to be coded by the particular element. So let's finish this off, then we'll get to what I say. Let's do it on this side, actually. Let me throw down a couple extra torches here. Make sure nothing spawns in the area. So therefore we'll have a corridor going out here. This will be a break. There'll be a corridor coming out here. A break. A corridor coming out here. The break. And then our final corridor coming down here. And each of them will have little areas dedicated to each of the elements. Now the corridors are going to be themed by color themed. And the question is the order in which to do each of these. Because we have the 4 elements. Now in the original, we have Earth first. This is almost begging for Earth to be first anyway, right? So it asks for Earth to be first. Then air, then fire, then water. I'm always not keen about putting fire and water next to each other, so I think I'm going to be changing this to earth, water, then air, and then fire. And I think that will be more fitting. And considering how much dirt is in this area, I wasn't really thinking about using dirt. I was thinking about using some substitutes and the like, but this is like begging for me to use dirt here. So therefore, let us get the pattern of the floor. The first thing we'll do, that as a bit of a transition, we'll have a stone slab here. We'll start the first block as a stone slab for each of these 3 corridors that we are going to be going down. Thus, when we have that little interface, and then we switch over to the color that we want. Now, I'm figuring that the walls are going to be the main color of the corridor, so therefore having the floors the same color will be a bit too much. Therefore, I am going to continue with these stone slabs on the side, but in the center stripe will of course be the appropriately themed color, And in this case, since we had all that dirt given to us, thinking of using dirt, even though, yeah, since this is for an earth temple, or not really a temple to a site area dedicated to earth, I think it will be appropriate if we do it like that. Now for the walls, let's see what we want here. Now this is going to be the color of choice, and we want to make this 4 high because we are going to be going back to our old friend glazed terracotta. I had been afraid that if I weren't careful I would make the whole thing too brown, but when I look at that, it looks like it's not quite brown enough. Also, I think I need to move this in one because I want a full point of transition, because I definitely want that to be the slabs in there, and I would like a surrounding block plus the block for there. So I have to move in the terracotta and also change the surrounding thing to something that's brown. And to me, the best idea for that would be spruce. Color-wise, that's a bit better. Texture-wise, it clashes. How do I deal with that? It doesn't clash, but a bit flat. So I decided to try concrete powder, and that looks, I think that looks a bit better. I suspect that concrete will look flat for what I'm trying to do. So therefore, I'm going to go with the concrete powder and see how that works. Another possibility is this: mushroom. I'm actually starting to like that. Might be easier to get the stuff than it is for the concrete powder, and this does look a little bit busy. So I think mushroom may have just one. It's a rather strange thing to use, but you don't build with mushroom all that often. But considering the resources I have, I think it works. I like it. I like it very much. And I think that gives us an episode and a build. So therefore, this is the earth area. I'll be duplicating it down on the other end so that we will have 2 of these. And next time, we will do the next section, which would be for water. So we have the earth section here. Then the next area after that would be water. And we'll see what kind of build we have with that. But that's it for today. And until next time, this is Pineleaf Mules reminding you to build responsibly. I think I like it, and here is the corridor with the mushroom and brown terracotta there. We've got dirt. At intervals of 5, we have the stone slabs separating each of those sections, and that's where I put my light. And this area, this is where we are going to have our special section that goes with this element. Each element is going to have its own little section in there at the end of its corridor, of course. And in the case of dirt, it's going to be, I know, no huge surprise, a little bit of a crop farm, because that will highlight the uses of earth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a room that's, the ideal size, I would say 10 by 10 blocks, and I mean Minecraft blocks as opposed to the special enlarged blocks that I have been using most of the time here. And I think if I do that, I'll have a nice sized room in which to make a little bit of a farm. In the end, I decided that an odd number would be better, so I went with 11 by 11 on the outside and 9 by 9 on the inside. 9 by 9 is the dirt area. And the reason why I have an outer area is because I needed to have light and I needed to have water, but I didn't want either of those to be showing because this is an earth area, and therefore I didn't want to highlight that they needed the water in order to help with all of this. So therefore I've hidden the water. Hopefully that'll help to hydrate our area. Actually, you could see the water a little bit there if you look really closely, but there's nothing that I could do to prevent that. Hopefully this will keep us nice and hydrated so that I could do some planting here. Now the question is, what should I plant? Good question. What I will try is, first off, we'll have a row of wheat. Good. And then I'll have a row of carrots. Then another row of wheat. Then I was thinking of potatoes. Now, I only have 7 potatoes, but eventually, of course, enough will grow that won't matter all that much. I'll just add a few more later on. Then more wheat, and I'll have to plant that one before it runs out, since the center one isn't properly hydrated due to where I put my water. Alright. And then we have beets. Good. And after that, back to, right, let's see, wheat, carrots, wheat, potatoes, wheat, beets. Then we could put wheat here. Then carrots. And then finally wheat. So we'll essentially have wheat alternating with other things, and that will hopefully give us a nice looking farm here. Maybe I should have put it in the other direction, but that's what we have, and eventually it'll grow. Of course, now we need to take care of the walls. And as for the walls, we'll just, I think I'll just have the walls be simple, not worry about too much of the color scheme. If I go too brown, it might not look too good. So therefore, let's get some more of these stone slabs and put them all around, and that should be it. But I think that pretty much takes care of this. So when we return next time, we should have this all nice and built up, all the walls finished, and maybe even the other end. After some thought, I decided that instead of stone slabs, I will use spruce, since that is nice and appropriate for this place. And for the ceiling, I will have spruce logs, as well as some stone slabs. So the question is exactly how I'm going to do the stone slabs. Would it be like that, or would it be lower? Let's try that lower and see how that looks. That way I won't have to worry about going up an extra level on what I'm doing there. So let's bring this down and see how this looks.